Well, well, well. Half a decade of uploading Doom videos for a fairly large group of nerds. 5 years and still going strong, I gotta say. As usual, let's take an introspective look at what was accomplished in the last 12 months. Right before the start of the new year, we tackled the 2009 version of Sunder. I remember when Sunder was a brand new WOD and that these maps looked impossible to beat without saves. And here we are now. All 14 maps single segmented on camera. The new Sunder maps are too hardcore though, as you may have seen in the live streams I did in 2021. Some of you may not know, but it's not Doom that was my childhood defining game, it was Quake II. I've played Quake II for many years, all the way into my late teens. It was mostly multiplayer, so funnily enough, I never actually completed single player. I did a live stream of me beating single player for the very first time, and then did some deathmatching with the viewers. Great fun. Arrival was a bit of an experiment where I would livestream a WOD blind and then upload practice videos of each map. Arrival was fairly short, so perfect for livestreaming it in one sitting. I did the practice runs with fast monsters and it was a great experience. Great atmosphere, and especially the music by AD79 was a highlight. After playing not even remotely fair, I learned that Nightmare requires an adjusted playstyle. I used to think you had to speedrun because of respawning enemies, but combat is actually surprisingly viable. Back to the classics we go then. I played through all 4 episodes of Ultimate Doom on Nightmare while getting 100% of the kills, items and secrets. This completely rejuvenated the classic Doom experience for me, and I highly recommend you give Nightmare a try. Then I also did Sigil, Doom's unofficial 5th episode. The maps are actually quite tuned for Nightmare gameplay, and some of the maps can get really mean and need proper creative routing to complete. Very good stuff, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed Sigil 2 is going to be Nightmare compatible too. Continuing the Nightmare streak, Doom 2 was also completed on Nightmare with once again 100% of the kills, items and secrets. Yes, even the totally intended Pain Elemental secret in map 15. I received requests to also do TNT Revolution and Plutonia on Nightmare, but these are too difficult for me. TNT has maps 2 and 9, which only 2 people in the world have ever beaten, and Plutonia's map 8 and 25 are crazy difficult as well. Hooray! 170,000 subscribers. Let's celebrate by streaming a map that makes Occuplock Slaughter Map look like child's play. Profane Promised Land is a ginormous map with 40,000 enemies. The fights are really tough, and I did my best to beat each fight with no mid-saves. The last couple of fights were too much, however. I had to use multiple saves throughout the fight. But hey, at least we got the epic Stimpack Path meme out of it. The popular viewer submissions had its 5th round, and as usual, the submissions were top-notch. A lot of variety in this round with some maps that really made me go wow. New to this round was playing submissions blind, which seemed to work out quite well, except at one time when I died 1 hour into the map. But hey, the map was great, so I didn't mind replaying it. Ancient Aliens, probably the most requested WOD I've ever had. It first started with a blind livestream, and then I did practice runs with extra co-op monsters enabled. This made the practice run semi-blind, since I had no idea what kind of extra enemies were added and where. I'm glad I managed to not watch any spoilers throughout the years, because the Ancient Aliens experience is one of a kind. And then, suddenly, drama! Oh no! Well, not really. My playstyle of expecting to be able to UV max every map blind indirectly stirred up a bit of a discussion on Doom World. Of course, this playstyle is not the norm, and I realized I may have more influence than I thought. The Decino community is fairly large after all. To ensure mappers don't adjust their mapping style to how I play, I uploaded a video discussing the problem and that I would adjust my blind run playstyle to be, less influential. From that point on, I'd record blind runs without any visible level stats and only review them when reaching the exit for a proper experience, not based around completionism. I must say, this new style is a huge success and I'm glad we found a solution. Another iWAT from memory came out. Yippee! This time people made TNT Evolution from memory, even the music. These are always fun to record. It's interesting to see what mappers remember of maps and compare it to what you remember. Of course, the best part is when the maps and music get incredibly cursed. Some great moments in this WOD. Alright, 180,000 subscribers. What should I play to celebrate? Well, everyone and their mom is talking about my house, even people who have never played Doom before. Well, it was quite an interesting experience, not the kind of WOD I play, and viewers probably realized that, based on how I blazed through the level. It was fun figuring out the puzzles, and there were some unsettling moments. The song by SL Forsham stuck around for a while for personal reasons. This was around the time the pumpkin lady found out she's pregnant, and I remember walking around in the neighborhood late at night, with SL Forsham's song playing in my earbuds. The soothing melody towards the end started playing as I was walking in the dark. and then it sank in. We're getting a pumpkin baby. I can't believe it. I will always associate SF4's track with its sudden, happy realization. So, in 2022 I met up with DoomTuber Coincident. Well, this year I met up with another DoomTuber, Borak, best known for his Doom is actually 3D video and his cameraman mod for GZ Doom to record those awesome flyover shots in Doom. It was an awesome day. I felt like playing something really difficult, so I checked out Flatsome. Flatsome is a collection of really tough maps made by several map makers. It spawned the longest outtakes video so far, with over 45 minutes of pure misery. Behind the scenes, Coincident, Peter, Vitan and I were working on a co-op speedrun of No Rest for the Living. For a couple of months we did some practice evenings where we routed the maps and to see who does what. The result? A very organized and fast speedrun with a big surprise at the end. I normally do not speedrun as I don't really enjoy it, but when done in co-op with highly skilled Doom friends, it's a blast. Sogonath and Benji, two good Tombmates, worked on a WOD and they asked me to check it out. I was so impressed by the visuals and design that I scheduled a spontaneous livestream on YouTube, showcasing it to the viewers. It's full of clever puzzles and map 3 is absolutely nuts, where you cannot take a single point of damage or it's over. If you're feeling masochistic, you should definitely check it out. Here's a WOD that's been on my to-do list ever since I started the channel, Speed of Doom. I was already quite familiar with the maps, so I took the risk and played it with fast monsters, not knowing if it's possible at all. The SDA showed half of the maps without any UV Fast demos, but I quickly learned it's because UV Fast is not a very popular speedrunning category. Another classic and highly requested WOD finished. Feels good. Speaking of highly requested WODs, I finally decided to play TNT Revolution blind, and man, I missed out so much. Why did I wait so long to play this WOD again? Despite it being a vanilla Doom WOD, I was very impressed by the map design and soundtrack. This has got to be the most atmospheric map set I've played so far, and I enjoyed every single minute of it. So, I've been getting comments like, hey, does he know Dimensions when? For years. And most of these comments ask it jokingly, but you know, I'll show them anyway, why I will never single segment Dimensions. In case you don't know what Dimensions is, it's a 5-map WOD, considered by many to be one of the hardest map sets ever made. I did a live stream to show off why Dimensions is so difficult, with of course map 3 being the highlight with its Kako Corps Cyberdemon finale. I did manage the UV Max maps 1 and 31, with 32 being a close call. Maps 2 and 3 were too much for me, however. I did not meet one, but 2 DoomTubers this year. This was an easy one, since he's a fellow countryman. So Vitan and I met up in afternoon, and it was great fun. Vitan does daily high-score Doom playthrough videos, so if you're into that, go check him out. Here's an interesting livestream, Sunlust Revisited. It's been over 3 years since I had last played Sunlust, so I was curious how I do in the harder maps. Well, let's just say that I got quite the wake-up call. I did beat map 25 first try, and got maps 29 and 32 relatively fast after a bit of practice. But maps 15, 20, 24, 28 and 30 were grueling. The few attempts I had with maps 28 and 30 got me quite far with minimal practice. So in a way, I did get gooder, but the others kicked my ass. This taught me a valuable lesson that practice is very important in maps like these. You can't always rely on your skill level alone. Inspired by Mount Pain 27's 10x10 video, I decided to start a 10x10 playthrough myself because it's freaking awesome. The gimmick is that each map is restricted to 10 wall textures and 10 floor/ceiling textures. Some universal textures come into play too, like switches and lights, but it does create maps that are hyper-focused on a certain aesthetic, and it's beautiful. The combat is also solid as hell. Lunch is a genius. Yet another highly requested WOD, and rightfully so. Augur Zenith. A WOD with a cyberpunk aesthetic unlike anything I've seen in Doom before. Combined with the music, this has been an amazing experience so far. We've also been working on an easier way to submit levels to the channel. Before, you had to email all the info to a specific email address, and that sucked. But now, there's a web app you can use to streamline the process. We've been using this for the 6th submission round, and everything works as intended. Friendly reminder that you've still got 3 days left as of this video's upload date to submit a level. So, there's still time. Now, analysis videos. I used to upload 1 analysis video a month, and that was killing. I actually had to sacrifice a lot of sleep to keep up with the non-existing deadline, and that was stupid. Editing analysis videos takes many weeks, so I slowed down to not burn myself out. I didn't map much this year. I only worked on not even remotely fair's penultimate map and its soundtrack. The map is pretty brutal, as you'd expect from a map 29. I'm really proud of this one and its track. I also worked on a very gimmicky MBF21 map for a sort of secret community project. I hope it comes out next year. And that marks 5 years of YouTube. Once again, a lot of things were accomplished in 1 year. As most of you know, the channel will go through some changes soon because there's a baby pumpkin on the way. Content will definitely slow down, so this could very well be the last anniversary video on this channel. I mean, I usually do these yearly introspective videos because I play a lot of different megawatts, but that's something I will put on hold starting somewhere next year. The channel will mostly focus on analysis videos and viewer submitted levels. Anyway, perhaps a bit of a bittersweet ending to this video. Content will slow down, but I won't be going anywhere. Either way, I want to thank all of you for another fantastic year, and I'm very grateful to how awesome the community is. I'm looking forward to another great year.